Hello, everyone. My name is Girish, and I'm one of the co-founders of the International Grief Council. The other two lovely ladies who make up the council are Daniela Norris and Loanne Mayer. The intention for this video is to introduce ourselves to you, tell you a little bit about the work we do, and also speak a little about the International Grief Council, our mission, and some of the work that we have done in the past and some upcoming events that are of interest to you. So I'm Uma, and I serve as a grief guide. I support spiritually oriented women who are grieving a loss, whether it is the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, the loss of a dream, or watching a parent die. I do this by helping you make peace with your pain so you can finally feel a sense of control over your life. I'm also an award-winning author, and I have two published books. The first is called Understanding Death, 10 Ways to Inner Peace for the Grieving. And my second book is a transformational memoir published by Hay House titled Losing Amma, Finding Home, a memoir about love, loss, and life's detours. We each bring a unique perspective to the International Grief Council, and that's what I think makes us so special and so different. What I'm interested in is exploring the big life questions related to meaning and purpose. So when a client of mine is moving through the transition of loss, I like to help them, lead them on a journey as a guide to look at the big questions about who am I, why am I here, and what is the purpose of my life, and then lead them to a doorway through which they move to transform their pain into purpose. So I'm now going to turn it over to my dear friend Daniela, and she'll tell you a little bit more about herself and her books and her work in the world. Hi, Daniela.
Hi, I'm Daniela Norris, and I come from a very grounded background, namely political science and international relations. I worked as a diplomat for 7 or 8 years, and I started writing fiction about 15 years ago now. But when something very difficult happened in my life, my younger brother, Michael, died suddenly. He drowned. He went swimming in the sea one day and drowned. Nobody could explain how that happened because he was a young, strong young man of 20. And that changed everything for me, because if before I didn't have time to explore anything beyond the everyday life, a young family, a career, a job, my fiction writing, suddenly everything came to a halt, and some strange things that I could not explain started happening. Now, being a grounded person, I felt the need to explore further and to understand, and to prove to myself that it was all just my imagination. I started training as a past life regression therapist, not because I believed in past lives, but because I wanted to prove to myself that it wasn't true, that things that were happening to me were not real. It was just the grief playing with my mind. But throughout this training, more strange things started happening, and I wrote a book about it, about this experience of training as a past life regression therapist, called On Dragonfly Wings, A Skeptic's Journey to Mediumship, which was out in 2014 with John Hunt Publishing in the UK. And that was life-changing for me, because I thought I was going to lose all my friends coming from a political background, suddenly writing a book, a non-fiction book about communicating with the other side. Something different happened, and I met many fantastic new friends. I lost a few maybe, but some of the new and amazing friends I've made are Uma and Loanne. And together we started the International Grief Council a couple of years later. And we've done several events in the US, in New York, in New Jersey, in New Mexico. And now we're gearing up to do together an event in the UK, where I'm currently based. I will pass over to Loan so she can perhaps say a bit about herself and what she does, and then we can talk more about our event. Loan, hello.
Hello, Daniela, Uma, and our friends on YouTube. My name is Loan Mayer. I am a person of great intense faith and spirituality, but so much so that somehow I was a little locked into what I thought is possible in the spiritual world. And after my mother and our daughter died, I found myself journaling with both souls on the other side, and terrified actually that there was something wrong with me. I'm sure those of you who have had a deep grief after the loss of someone have experiences like Daniela just mentioned, and my experience too. But the beautiful aspect of what happened to me was that I was able to begin to find out from my mother and our daughter, who committed suicide 13 years ago, what happened, why it happened, and how I could be helpful to my grandchildren, who were very, very distraught, as well as her 5 brothers and sisters. So the ultimate aspect of my work has turned out to be called transpersonal journaling. That means reaching through the veil, asking questions of a loved one you've lost, so that forgiveness begins to process into the world that I am in, or you are in, depending on what's happened to you. I found from both my mother and my daughter that forgiveness is one of the most important components to healing a broken heart. And as I began to use their advice, I was approached to write a book about what I was doing by my own grief counselor, who suggested many other people might want to try this particular tool. And as you know, most of you who are grieving, if you are, that we need many tools. So I began a book called Celestial Conversations, Healing Relationships After Death. And it's turned out to be, I guess you'd call it a good screwdriver in the toolbox of healing your broken heart. And in the process, I met Daniela, who is at the time someone I did not know, but whose book I adored. And Uma, who I did not know, but after our brief conversation became a soul sister to me. And out of that experience, we discovered, the 3 of us, even though we had nothing in common, not age, not religion, not culture, nothing in common, the commonality of our grief helped us speak the same language. And in the process of discovering that, we decided maybe there's some people out there who would benefit from meeting us and allowing us to share our stories to give hope to those who may have lost it. So we have, as Daniela said, done a few programs, and we'll talk to you about the one coming up in England. But mostly, we just want to share the fact that there is hope, and there are wonderful gifts that can come from this terrible experience that we've all shared. So I'll give it back now to Uma to tell us more about next year in England.
Thank you, Loan. I just want to say that we've been traveling and teaching since 2015. In 2015, we traveled to the New York area and we did 3 public events, one at Namaste Bookstore, one in Georgian Court University, and at Villa Walsh, which is a retreat center. So in 2016, we had the opportunity to travel to New Mexico. We were in Santa Fe and Albuquerque, and we decided that we wanted to do something bigger with our next adventure. And that's what brings us to the UK. We're going to be there in August, September of 2018. I just want to also narrow the lens to something Loan said about the 3 of us having very little in common with one another. I am Hindu, Loan is Catholic, and Daniela is Jewish. And although we don't identify by our faith backgrounds or our religious experiences, we bring that richness. We bring that richness of our personal heritage into the work we do as people that are helping grieving folks around the world. So I'd love for Daniela to talk about Shani Manor, which is where we are holding our retreat, and give you a little taste of what is coming up over that weekend.
Thank you, Uma. I visited Charney Manor about 6 months ago with a conference of the past life regression therapists that I'm a member of here in England. And it's an amazing place. It's a Quaker house that does many retreats, spiritual retreats. And when I saw this place, I immediately got in touch with my two friends, Loan and Uma, and said, this is where we need to come and do a retreat. Because I found just moving to the UK at the time of the Brexit, and so much is going on in the news and politics and all these other things that I used to be so interested in, and so still am interested, because I remain connected to the both sides. I think that spirituality uplifts us and politics keep us grounded. But I found the UK being a very open place spiritually. And when I mean spiritually, it's not religiously, but spiritually, there are so many things going on in conferences and courses and retreats. There's just a wealth of possibilities. And I felt that if we came here together, the three of us, as three women who are mothers, who are daughters, who are sisters, teachers, and writers, I thought that perhaps we can bring a slightly different perspective into the lives of those who've recently or not so recently lost someone. And the fact that we do come from different faith backgrounds and cultural backgrounds is so interesting, because I think in the UK at the moment, with all the perhaps negative vibes that are going on and that we see in the news and we hear about, reading papers, I think it's a really good opportunity to bring something positive and to bring together people who do need to connect to each other and to their loved ones on the other side. And even if you don't believe in the other side, I can relate to that because I was there only a few years ago. It is still a wonderful opportunity to get together with other people in your situation and to explore the possibility that maybe there is something beyond this life. Maybe there is another way of looking at grief that can help you make your life richer, as difficult as it is, with all the challenges that we all face when we lose a loved one. Like Uma said, there is hope, and there's a lot to explore together. We do bring different techniques. I talk about communicating with the other side through regression, through hypnosis, through meditation. But I try to bring these things in a very grounded way because that's my background. And perhaps Loan can tell us a bit more about her techniques, which are fascinating. And then we'll be happy to perhaps answer questions. If you want to contact us through our website, Uma can end by giving you the details of how to contact us. Loan?
I will happily share my techniques and my love for the idea that the three of us coming together create a special energy that allows anyone in our presence to feel safe, to feel loved, and to feel appreciated no matter where they are on their grief journey. Because no matter where you are, we've been there and we understand. So my technique evolved into transpersonal journaling, which was writing a letter after meditating and giving myself the opportunity to clear my mind, and writing to and from my mother at first. I did that for 5 months, and in the process learned how to listen and write down the words word for word, and to go back later on and reread them. And then I used that same method after our daughter died. And incidentally, I was in Glastonbury at the time that my daughter died. And I find it quite amazing that I'm being allowed to go back to that part of the world again, which is the heart chakra of the world, by the way, and to share what I learned about transpersonal journaling. Through meditation and prayer, I allowed myself to ask my mother to help me with my daughter's death, since I had no information whatsoever. And there may be some of you out there who have unfinished business, as I did with my mom, or perhaps lost someone, as I did with my daughter, and I had no information. Perhaps you've been down that road, being a military family. But my own impression is that doing the transpersonal journaling has not only given me words of comfort and words of understanding about the other side and how my daughter and my mother express their love to me still, despite the fact that they are not in a body, and how we can still communicate after their deaths. It's been very precious for me, and I am so delighted to share that. So part of my journey has been learning information that allowed me to forgive myself for not being there when Cindy died, or not being able to reach my mother while she was still alive, but also to learn that all of us receive help from the other side. Sometimes we just don't know they're there. So that's part of my journey, and my technique that I use, we'll use in our actual dates, I believe, are August 30th to September 2nd, and not far away from Oxford University, I understand. But perhaps I'll send it back to Uma to give a little bit more information, and be open to the possibility. You can let us know if you have other questions about the fees, about the registration, about how to get from one place to another. I'll give it to Uma and she can help us.
Thank you, Loanne. Just to give you an idea of what we have planned for you over the weekend, our intention is to create a sacred and safe experience for grieving people. And because of the size of our retreat center and the number of people we can accommodate, we are only able to take about 20 people for this first-time retreat experience. You will have an opportunity to journal, to meditate, to travel to a past life, to cry, to laugh together, to take long walks in a beautiful scenic setting that will inspire you and energize you. You will make new friends because you find yourself in a new world now that you're grieving. You are not the person you used to be, and you will find other soulmates walking similar shoes. So this is going to be an amazing experience. If you'd like to check it out, you have 8 months to plan. So head over to our website, which is www.internationalgriefcouncil.org. And you will find all the information there about the weekend, how to register, the fees, all kinds of good stuff. And if you have any other questions coming up, feel free to write to us. There is a way you can contact us through our website. Feel free to put in your information, and one of us will be in touch with you and take care of any questions that you may have. So if this speaks to you and you want to heal your broken heart, if you think this is the right time to put a stake in the ground and begin your healing journey to what lies next for you, to that next life ahead, to a new chapter, we welcome you. We'd love to have you at this retreat. And we're going to make it a sacred, soulful experience. As again, our love and best wishes and blessings are always with you. Write to us through our website if you have any more questions that we can answer, if you'd like to comment on the video, if you'd like to share something, if you know of people or resources in the UK that we can access to help make our retreat experience fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.